Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Hayley and thank you so much for allowing me to join you on your journey today. So, in today's video, we are going to be covering the best spiritual tools for beginners. And one thing I wanted to emphasize on this is that these are very inexpensive items. But before we jump into it, I just wanted to say, don't forget to like and subscribe to join the tribe. I post spiritual content all the time, so go on ahead and subscribe and join the tribe. Also, don't forget to check the description box. I have my Instagram and a private or an email listed if you'd like a private reading from yours truly. I also do other services like spell work. So I actually have a video, maybe I'll remember to put a little iCard up here, but I posted one of my spells and it was, very successful. But anyways, let's get into it. So first thing I wanted to say before I show you all the fancy items is that you do not need any of these items to be spiritual or to practice magic or anything like that. These tools are not necessary. I want to give this warning because, or not warning, but I want to tell you this because when I first started my spiritual path, I thought I needed all of this shit in order for my magic or for my spirituality to be successful, to, I don't know, have really good outcomes. And that's just not simply true. The magic comes from here and in here. The magic comes from you. These items I'm going to show you are tools. They are meant to help, they're meant to help you visualize. Sorry, I was forgetting the word. They're meant to help you visualize. So if you want to bring in protection, you could do that just by stating, getting the energy in your hands and being like, this space is protected. This space is protected. And go around and cleanse with your energy in your hands. That's all it takes. However, if you are at a point where you're ready for some spiritual tools and you want to kind of get where to start, I'm going to show you that right now. So the first item up, I feel like, is the most obvious item, but I just wanted to put it out there. First item up, a clear quartz crystal. Yes, clear quartz crystal is honestly, look, if you look here, that's what I have tattooed on my arm, is a clear quartz crystal. This crystal is so fucking powerful. A lot of the time, so like amethyst that has direct meanings, citrine has direct meanings. Hold on, let me pull my sleeve up a little bit. Again, a little too scandalous. But clear quartz is known for being the energy amplifier. If you want, if you're using amethyst for psychic enhancement, you could pair a clear quartz with it to amplify, to magnify the energy. It's almost like if you're playing music on your phone, but then you connect it to a stereo. This is the stereo. It just sounds better, Clear quartz is a very powerful stone. When I first started my path, this is one of the only stones I had. So, and this is super inexpensive. If you are paying more than like $4 or $5 for an amethyst crystal this size, you're paying too much. I got this stone literally for like $2.99 or $1.99 or something like that. These are very cheap and very inexpensive, but they are powerful. This can be used for any spell, any spiritual work, anything like that. Even meditating, you can just hold this. There's a fucking reason why it's tattooed on my arm. Like, this is an excellent stone to start with. And it's cheap. So next item up, I feel like is kind of an obvious item, but maybe it isn't. So next item up is some incense. So not incest, we ain't nasty. It's some sage, some white sage incense. Now you can start with any incense, but something I've noticed, especially when I first started my path, is that sage is kind of expensive. Like if you want, here, let me show you. Something I realized on my path is that sage sticks like this are expensive. Some witches don't have, this was I think $9, so with tax of almost $10, that's expensive. Even though this is a very large stick that will last you, some witches or some spiritual people just don't have the money to cough out on that. So what I would recommend, and what I did at first, is I just used white sage incense. I got this whole big pack and they burn for a while, and I just used to cleanse my house with white sage. Sabio Blanco, ho. But I used to just cleanse my room, cleanse my space, use this for spell work. And these incense, especially if you get a smaller box, they're really not that expensive at all. And white sage, I feel like, is a staple. You could also get like Palo Santo incense. Get whatever calls to you. This is just what I started off with and what I would recommend. Some good old-fashioned white sage incense. So the next item on our list is a simple tea candle. Just a little simple one. Now let me tell y'all something about these. I have had some of the most successful magic with just these little tea candles, because remember, it's all about your intention for the spell or for whatever spiritual work you are doing. Now these, I got a pack of 100 tea lit candles at Walmart for $4. It was $3.99. 100 of these bitches for $4. I mean, that's pretty simple. Candles in general aren't expensive. Like, you could go to the Dollar Tree and get a 7-day candle, those big ones, for spell work for $1. But sometimes those can be overwhelming. And what I like about these tea candles is that it comes with multiple. It's not just one giant candle, it's multiple little ones. So you could use this for multiple spells. Color correspondence, they come in different colors as well, if that matters to you. When I first started off, I just always used white candles, and it's not because I didn't know that different colors have different correspondences. It's just, girl, this is all I could get. This is all I could get my hands on. So this is what I started with, and this is what I still use to this day. But yes, I would highly recommend these white tea lit candles. Got a pack of 100 for $4. So if you got 200, it would be $8 for 200 little candles that you could do any kind of spell with. Definitely recommend these. So the next item on our list is this Crossroad Dirt, okay? Now this is something, and this is gonna be one of a few things that I actually got myself. This Crossroad Dirt, I would have to say, is one of the most powerful things. I don't know what to call this, herbs. It's not an herb, but it's one of the most powerful things that you can add to your spell. I literally went to a crossroad. So a crossroad, a good example of a crossroad would be like where there's multiple stop signs and there's multiple different ways to go. I literally got on my hands and I took dirt from the crossroad and I put it in this bag. And the reason why this is such a powerful tool is because crossroads, a lot of the times people do magic when they're at a crossroad, when they need more money, when they're looking for love, when they need new direction in their life, when they're wanting different paths to open up. That's a crossroad. It's like when you're driving and you're trying to decide which direction to go. So if you just sprinkle some of this on your little tea candle and you manifest, oof, every time I use Crossroad Dirt in a spell, it is so incredibly powerful. 10 out of 10, would recommend. All you gotta do is freaking go in your neighborhood where there's a stop sign, as long as you'll be safe, and dig up some dirt. 10 out of 10. So the next item on our list actually gets contained in a baggie as well. It is just a little baggie of table salt. Yes, the little salt with the girl with the umbrella on it. Yeah, that's what this is. This is just pure white salt. Pure white salt. And salt is great for a magnitude of things when it comes to spiritual work. One, you can use it to protect your space. So whenever I clean my room, I'll do salt on the windows and then salt on the doors, like entryways basically. And this will protect your space from negative energy entering your space or even spirits as well. I use salt in every single spell I do because it is for protection. It is to keep things cleansed and purified, just like sage. So if you can't get your hand on some sage incense, use salt. Salt is such a strong protector. Doesn't matter what kind of salt. If you use pink Himalayan salt, that'd be good for like a love spell, or it doesn't matter. There are correspondences to certain colors and certain materials, but you can change that. So I have this this astrophyllite right here, right? And it's a black stone. So even though astrophyllite is used for astral projection and things like that, I could say, because this is black, I could go, this stone will protect me. Boom. What matters is your intention. The The correspondences is to, once again, help you visualize, but you are in control when it comes to this. So yeah, definitely would recommend some salt. You could get most of these items at Walmart, so girl, get you some salt. Next item that I found to be extremely necessary that I didn't think of, and this is why I'm including it because I didn't think of it when I first started my path. Now, what's this, you might ask? It's an incense holder. When I first started off my path, I totally didn't realize, like, and maybe, listen, I know I'm not stupid. I'm not gonna use this bad manifestation talk, but I was definitely a little clueless. You're gonna need something to hold your incense. And you can totally make something, oh, I almost dropped this. You can make something like this, pretty simple. You could just use like cardboard and poke a hole and figure that shit out. I'm sure there's tons and tons of tutorials on YouTube about how to make your own incense holder. But honestly, if you go to Walmart and you buy a pack of incense, sometimes they come with these with it. So I know it's pretty simple, and they make some pretty cool incense holders that are inexpensive. Definitely should get an incense holder. Right, the next item up is a jar, but not just any jar. It's actually Tuscan Garden Spanish manna. I'm not even gonna try to say that word. Olives. This was once an olive jar, but now I use it for magic, and that's what I wanted to say. I know we all want to be that aesthetic ass witch that has jars for each herb and they're all pretty and cool. Yeah, that's not practical when you first start off. I to this day will refuse to spend money on jars because I can just use this. This was from Aldi's. It was like however much olives are at Aldi's, like $1. And once it was empty, I just washed it out. You could run it through the dishwasher, take the little label off, and boom, you have a jar to store your herbs or to do moon waters in. Just make sure you clean it so it doesn't taste like whatever was in there. But really, you don't need to be spending money on jars. You really don't. Especially if you're beginning, you really don't need to spend money on jars because you have tons of jars in your fridge and in your cabinet. Just wash them out. I promise you, you really don't need jars. I know for like witchcraft and spirituality, we're like jars, but like you don't need the really pretty mason jars. This works just as good. And if you live with your parents, it was free. So next place, well, this is an item, but it corresponds to a place. So a lot of the times when we, I was looking at my mail-in ballot and it has some angel numbers on there. We have 1, 2, 3, and 44. Anyways, I just noticed that. Yes, the place, okay. So this item corresponds with a place, but it is where I got it from. And it's this little girl here. This is a little angel, and I got it from the Dollar General. Now, a lot of the times when we think of spirituality, we think of metaphysical shops, crystal stores, things like that. We want to buy our items from there. And there's nothing wrong with that. I want to buy my items from a metaphysical store as well. However, like no tea, no shade, metaphysical stores get expensive really fast. So go to your local Dollar Tree, go to your local Dollar General. I got this for $1. And I use it in all my spells. I have another one that's purple and that has prayer hands. But literally go to the Dollar Tree, go okay, this is my biggest recommendation to anyone starting witchcraft or spirituality in general. It doesn't have to be witchcraft. Get everything as cheap as you can because this is a lifestyle. You know, you can go to the metaphysical store and drop some coin, but it's gonna run out eventually and then you're gonna have to drop some coin again. So go to all the cheap places first before you go and spend a lot of money at a metaphysical store. You know, I'm just recommending that, okay? But yes, definitely go to Dollar Tree, go to Dollar General. There's some really cute finds. There's tons of videos on YouTube from witches about like Dollar Tree hauls and things like that. Please don't waste your money on expensive stuff when you can get it for cheaper. The next items I want to show you they correspond to when you're trying to make spells. Spells can get expensive, especially if it's more of an elaborate spell. So I want to show you this. This little girl right here is something I made completely from things in my neighborhood. I keep this right by my door right there, and it is for protection. I have magnolia leaves. Some of these, I don't know. I used to ride my bike a lot, now I rollerblade. But I would just pick these items up when I was riding my bike, whatever caught my attention, because I had the intention of crafting something from nature, but I didn't know what, so whatever caught my attention, I did. I grabbed it. So we have these little things here, we have these magnolia branch, and then we have some feathers that I found. And this is a spell. And it was 100% free, and then I have this string here tying it all together. 100% free, 100% from nature. As long as you dry it out properly, or if it's already dried out when you find it, that's even better. That's all you need. And I used my intention. That's it. And this is for protection. Literally, ain't got no bad ghosties coming in here with this, okay? So, and also, if you want to leave offerings, this is an offering. This is an oak leaf, or a oak tree little twig with leaves on it. I've had this on my altar for literally 6 months. My spiritual team loves this. And same with these little things here. I found this at the lake by my house. And I used it for each season I have a little space on my altar dedicated to it. I had this up during summer, you know, like you just need to keep your eyes peeled, because there's tons and tons of resources for you to use when it comes to your magic, when it comes to your spiritual work. You just have to be open to it. You know, if you are set that in order to do this spell, you need sandalwood, but then you go outside and you see some like bark from a tree you could just like grind up and use instead, do that. For me, witchcraft and spirituality is about resourcefulness. How resourceful are you? Think about it. I mean, people who practiced witchcraft back in the day, like centuries ago, do you really think they could just go to a store and pick up a crystal? No, they had to go to like the fucking Silk Road and find that shit. Like, they were resourceful, because the magic comes from here and here and here, of course, your heart space. So just keep an open mind to your spell work. Be open, be fluid. I did not expect to use this when I created this protection thing. I really did not. I didn't expect, I don't even know what this is, but the intention behind it is purposeful, so it worked. And the last spiritual tools for beginners is this. This is a composition, not a composition, this is just a lined notebook. And what this is for journaling. It's for your Book of Shadows or grimoire, something like that. A lot of the times we think we need to use this fancy leather-bound book with the pentacle carved into it and the tree of life. No, that shit is expensive. Have you looked up the price of a very fancy Book of Shadows? That shit is like $50 to $60 plus. So, my Book of Shadows, I use a sketchbook, but I didn't include it because sketchbooks are expensive, and this works just fine. So honestly, I use a sketchbook. Sometimes I use just, when I first started, I didn't even have a Book of Shadows when I first started. And it's because I thought you had to buy a fancy one. And then I ended up just buying a sketchbook, which was one of the best decisions of my life. So if you have a little bit extra money, I would recommend a sketchbook, just because it's a blank page and you can make it whatever you want, as to where this has lines, so it's a little bit more difficult. But if you're just starting off, because once again, you can always transfer this information into your new Book of Shadows if you get that. Lined notebooks, composition notebooks, little diaries, they work good for Book of Shadows or for a spiritual journal. They really work good, especially if you're just starting out and you're looking for something like that. Because what if you start this Book of Shadows about, let's say you want to do demonology first, and as you continue going down your path, you're like, you know what, I don't really feel called for demonology anymore. I want to make my Book of Shadows about this. Well, you didn't just drop freaking $60 on a fancy book. No. And I want to say this, your Book of Shadows is supposed to be a compilation of a lot of information. However, if you are a Virgo like me, you like things to be very organized. And I remember there's some entries in my Book of Shadows now that irks me because it's not organized how I would like it to be. But anyways, got off on a tangent. Definitely would recommend any kind of book. It can even be an old school book. Like it's summer break, you have nothing, you finished your classes, you could use that. Literally, it's all about being resourceful. All right, everyone, well, that completes this video. I hope it was helpful. And once again, I just want to reiterate, these are not items you must get to be spiritual or to practice the craft or anything like that. These are my recommendations. These are things that I started with that really worked to be true for me. Don't forget that the magic comes from within you. These are tools. These, honestly, I could practice witchcraft and magic and my spirituality without all this crap, you know, but I've been practicing for 6-7 years. So this is a collection. Everything I have is a collection of 6 to 7 years. That's a long time, you know? And a lot of these witches you see on social media that have like all of the aesthetic, like aesthetic as fuck, they've been practicing for a long time or they're rich. So just remember that, okay? Don't forget to like and subscribe to join the tribe. I post spiritual content all the time. Also, make sure you check out that description box to follow me on Instagram and shoot me an email to get a private reading. And I'm sending many, many beginner blessings your way. And if you're not a beginner, you're just looking for like inspiration, sending blessings your way as well. Take care, everyone.